Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go.
Hello everybody, this is AJ, Voice Radio, Street Notes and Commentary. I do want to welcome you to the day's show. I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. When you're too busy to watch, listen to Voice Radio. It would be much appreciated. This episode is brought to you by LCSA, Life and Community Solutions Association, Incorporated. Changing and filling the void, bringing a difference in the lives of the most vulnerable people in our communities. I want to thank you for joining Voice Radio, and I'll be right back. And by the way, we are celebrating Old School Talk Show Radio. I'll be back.
Baby, I'm all alone, looking at the rain. I'm just gonna tell you straight. Baby, I'm a
tell people all the time, if you can't do nothing else but meditate, then do that. And if you don't know how to meditate, by all means, pray. All right. We're about ready to get into the topic and have this conversation today. Join me. I am AJ, and this is Voice Radio. Come on! Yes. Here we are. Another day here on Voice Radio, pre-recorded Voice Radio episode. Guess what I did on yesterday? I kind of surprised myself. I had made up in my mind that I wasn't going to do it, but I did. I went live yesterday on TikTok. Yes, I did. And I had made up in my mind I wasn't going back, but I did it anyway because I miss my friends. And hopefully some of my friends are listening to this podcast as I speak. But I missed them, and I decided that I would go live on yesterday. Hopefully, pretty soon, I'll be able to go live on YouTube. I don't know how soon that will be, but I hope to get that in place sooner than later so I can begin to have various types of conversations. And guess what? Now, listen, I got a surprise for you all. Well, it won't be a surprise because I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. Guess what I'm planning to do? Now, I'm relocating, all right? I'm not telling you where I'm moving to until I get there, but I'm relocating. And when I relocate, I am going to be doing live podcasts. What you think? You're going to see my face. That's right. So I'm going to be doing my voice radio, and I'm also, from time to time, once a month, I am going to be doing a live podcast where hopefully I would have some great guests where we could talk about business, we could talk about community, and all the things that are happening in this country that we know as USA. Okay? So listen, I have a lot of things in the future plan, as well as my partnership with LCSA, Life and Community Solutions Association. We got some things in the working that we're going to try to do and implement and put out there into the atmosphere as we seek to help people who are struggling. Okay, I want to thank LCSA for supporting me that make this podcast and the other things that I'm going to be doing possible because, you know, I'm a member too. Yes, I'm a part of the organization. I am glad that these great things are happening to me. I got to get it done where I can. I'm not 18. I'm getting a little older, I'm a little older now. It's kind of difficult for us older people to say how old we are. We don't really like to talk about our age. You know that. We kind of keep that in the back room. But listen, the live went well. We talked a little bit about politics, talked about what's happening as it relates to the EBT that is happening. And a lot of people feel like, this whole, misinformation propaganda tool that is happening to kind of divide the people to make it seem like black folks are the only folks that own EBT, when in fact, that's not the case at all. But we don't need to argue that fact because we're only 15% of this country. So there's no way possible that we could be the majority of the individuals who are living or eating off of what they say EBT. And I believe the percentages as regards to us is maybe about 20%, where other people may be 30%, 35%, the majority, the ones that continue to spread information about this whole welfare queen that Reagan brought about some years ago, many years ago to be exact. And I remember that time when they started that conversation, again, to rob and divide the people. But today, I thought it was fitting for me to talk about spirituality. Have anybody ever been watching the balloon popping episodes? I done got caught up in that. I know I'm late to the party, but I've been watching that for quite some time. I think it's rather interesting, especially when it comes to the shallow attitude of most of the guests that's on there that's seeking some love and partnership. They looking at folks' shoes and jewelry, shirts and pants, And I must admit, most of them desire that a person be a faith believer, a believer in God. And I believe that has a lot to do with the creators who are believers. They are Christians, my understanding that they are stern Christians. So that means that most of the people that they try to bring on board, I'm sure that when they do the little application, they put on there what their religion is. And most of the people, they talk a lot about God. All right. Which I don't have a problem with that at all. But some folks do push back on it and say, look, I'm a spiritual person. And I know there's a lot of people been talking about I'm more spiritual. I'll be anything else but a Christian. I don't want to be a Christian. I'm spiritual. And most people who are spiritual was once Christian. Did you know that? And you got to ask the question, what caused the flip, the change? Well, for someone like myself, and y'all know that I talk about this quite often, I think this is probably going to be my thing, to talk about various things that happens within the body, the kingdom, the religious sector, because I grew up in that sector of Christianity. So I understand it more than some folks would. So maybe that would be a segment that I add into voice radio. But let me be honest with you. I've learned a lot outside of the traditional church, I must admit. And I learned it from people who cared more about my heart, my mind, and my soul than they cared about judging me for what I wasn't. And that is what most people have had a problem with when it comes to certain religions in this country. It comes off as a judgmental type of religion where they seek to point out all your flaws as they say they're trying to save your souls. And that hasn't been working quite well lately, especially when now we have religion and politics. Everybody is of God. as they party and lay and commit adultery and lie and steal and do all the things that Christianity speak against. But they make excuses. Well, this is how I look at it, is that you don't believe everything that somebody tells you. You got to watch what they do and not so much as what they say. People that are quick to judge are usually those individuals who are quick to sin. Because it's a distraction, mechanism. Distraction. Take the focus off of me and put it on somebody else. And that's what we got going on in this country right now. Distractions. Do something to throw the attention away from what I'm doing. And I never knew there were so many religious people were so wealthy, billionaires now and believers, allegedly. Okay? As they bring harm upon the poor. But as I said, when I was on the live just the other day, I said that, religion has always been used as a tool because people have always had a desire to be connected to something greater than themselves. A deity, a God, an image, a person, a thing. People chooses to worship whatever they choose to worship. It could be a thing. It could be a man. It could be a woman. It could be a spirit. But all of these things are identified by how strong you are in your faith or the lack of faith. Because faith is based upon things that you cannot necessarily see and touch. Can't touch it, but you can feel it, which, in lines with your emotions and your mannerisms and how you respond to certain things that come your way. But there are some folks that have lack of faith and they need something to see or they need something to hear, and it needs to be physical. So they need something to touch, something they can pick up, something they can throw away in order to be able to worship it. And then a lot of times people call that an occult. But there are a lot of denominations that can be defined as an occult, no doubt about it. And an occult has more to do with manipulation and control of the mind. Controlling of people's lives and their decisions. It's taking away their freedoms and their independence and laying out a playbook for them to go by and to live by. It is a standard that is laid by men and not by anything bigger or greater than themselves, although they use a deity or a God to do it. They tell folks, hey, look, I've been chosen by God, or I've been chosen by Nimrod, or I've been chosen by King this, or Lord that, chosen by this deity, this great one that you love and worship, and they told me to tell you this. But I want you to understand that a lot of people that fall into those traps are in pain themselves. They are vulnerable. They are weak. They are hurting. They are suffering. In order to manipulate people, you got to break them, or they've already been broken. They are easily to manipulate. That's why they desire some folks in power, or some folks that desire to get more power, primarily over the people. That's why they like to engage with people who are disconnected, uneducated, and those individuals who have hate in their hearts for other groups and other races and people and cultures that they have not dealt with. And when somebody comes along and say, look, I am the one, I can fix your problem for you. Most people believe that. And they believe that this individual or this person is pastor, preacher, king, prophet, priest, rabbi, can fix the problem. But remember, they are human just like you. They are men and women just like you. They are subject to make mistake, to go in the wrong direction. They are subject to sin. No matter what they say or what they call themselves, all of us are in this flesh on this earth, and all of us are tempted on a daily basis, and any one of us can fall on any given day. And the problem is, when you talk about this ideal or this thought of an occult, is that most people forget that these individuals are human, and they start treating them as though they are some type of deity, some divine presence. Well, you know and I know that no flesh can stand in the presence of anything that is divine or spiritual and live. It's similar to the sun. Nobody can walk on the sun. They walked on the moon, but I dare anybody try to walk on the sun. It's not possible. But let us not forget our brothers and sisters that don't believe, yet they don't believe in any type of deity or God. They just believe in existence. They just believe that you exist until you don't exist no more, and that's it. They don't have nothing to worry about because there is no hell or heaven that they have to think about on a daily basis. So it's less stress for individuals that think that way. But I'm not one to judge and say if they're wrong or right in their thoughts. I do agree that there are a lot of things that are going on in this country and throughout the world is happening primarily because of religion. Every battle, every situation when it comes to conflict has been brought about primarily because of religion, because of men. Not because of God, not because of some deity, but because of men. Because if God is love, all this other stuff is this men driven by the desire for power, driven by the desire for more money, and driven by the desire for control over the most vulnerable people in the world.